Yama. I'm Marlee Silver from Nine's Wide World of Sports, and this is a new podcast series, Marlee and Me. As a proud Gamilaroi and Dunghutti woman and the daughter of a former NRL player, I've always known that identity, culture, and connection to family are keys to the success of every athlete. I'm passionate about athletes having their stories heard and being known for who they are off the field. That's what's inspired this series. So join me as I sit down with some of the greats of our greatest game of all.
Hi, I'm Kalyn Ponga, and this is my story. You can't laugh. Hi, I'm Kalyn Ponga. This is about my family, my culture, about my journey and my story. This is Marlee and Me.
How old were you when your brother passed away?
I was about seven, so I kind of knew what was going on. Obviously, I knew what was going on, but I didn't know, I guess, the effect or how deep it affected my mum and dad and what they had to go through and what they had been through for so long. And I was 7, I knew what was happening, but I probably didn't understand it fully. Such a sad thing that happened, and obviously we wish he was back, but it's the reason why this family's so close.
Kalyn Ponga, superstar fullback at the Newcastle Knights. 2023 Dally M medalist. A sporting prodigy who, at the age of 15, was being headhunted by 6 clubs across 3 different sports. That story is the one most rugby league fans have heard of. This isn't that story. Kalyn Ponga, the proud Maori man, the big brother, the loyal friend, the proud son. That's who you'll hear from today, sitting in his lounge room, accompanied by his beloved Aussie shepherd Sadie, with an open heart, generosity, and vulnerability. Kalyn tells me his story. This episode was recorded on the lands of the Awabakal people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and acknowledge their continued connection to that country. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you for letting us in your home. I think it's very cozy.
I've been here for 2 years now. I live with my schoolmate. We've got a good thing going, and this is Merriweather, we're in Newcastle, we're in my home. I was comfortable with you coming here. We had it cleaned last week, so it wasn't too dirty. I still try to tidy up before you got here, but I'm more than welcome. 2 boys live here, just have that in mind. My mum, she doesn't like it when my mum's my mum. She thinks it should be tidier than what it is, but I think we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very tidy, and it's like, just the style of it is...
It's a cool spot.
Very cool.
We're lucky. We are
Very
lucky.
Cool.
We're hoping to move out, but it's going to be hard to leave, to be honest.
Yeah. So I believe growing up you moved around a bit.
I was born in Port Hedland, WA, and then moved to Mount Isa. Then from Mount Isa moved to New Zealand and lived over there in Palmerston North. Moved back when I was about 13 to Mackay. My mum, she had a best friend that lived there, so we decided it was best to move there. There's not much going on in Mackay. And then from Mackay we went to Brisbane and then went to Townsville.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. For different reasons. We moved for my dad's work early on. He was in the mines. So I guess wherever he was, we were. And then moved back for family reasons. When my brother passed away, we went back there, and just to be around family and to sort of use that as a tool to grieve, I guess. And then through footy, moved to Brisbane and Townsville. So been on a bit of a journey as a family, and it's been a good one, to be honest.
Yeah. Where feels most like home then?
I've been here for 6 years now. I think I was in New Zealand for about eight-ish, and I think this is where mum and dad and Kaylee will stay if I move on. I guess home right now is Newcastle, and it's probably it feels safe for us. But growing up, I'd say New Zealand. A lot of my early memories with my cousins and my uncles and stuff like that. That's what I remember most about my childhood.
Do you think then home's not so much a place, but being with your family?
Yeah, I guess 100% it's where my family is, and I'm lucky enough that I've had my family with me the whole time. I don't think we would have done it any other way, just because of, I guess, what's happened along the journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, yeah, where my family is, where my friends are, I guess that's where home is. That's what feels, I guess, the most like home.
So when you moved down here to Newcastle, you were what, 19?
I was 19, yeah.
And there was like no question that the fam was coming with?
No, not really. Not at that point.
Yeah.
No, not really. I think because my sister, she's only 13 now, so 6 years ago, obviously. But I don't think I would have been able to move away from her, and I don't think my mum would let that happen either at that point. Obviously, it's different now. I'm a bit older and whatnot, and they're quite stable and happy here in Newcastle. But yeah, definitely at 19, my little sister, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
That's pretty beautiful. Tell me about it. No, it is. I know that's just second nature to you. So of course you go, oh, that's just how I am. But I think that I don't know. I don't know if everyone with siblings talks about them like that. Like you not wanting to be away from her. That's pretty special. Tell me about her.
I think because of obviously my brother passing away, that's what's made this family so close. Obviously my old man is heavily involved, well, not heavily involved, but he takes care of a lot of my footy side of things. It's just the makeup of this family, and my little sister, she's, I guess, a blessing that I don't know if we expected. After my brother passed away, a few things happened, but she came along, and it was a bit not scary at the start, but I guess my brother was only 18 months when he passed away, so then to see my sister at that age, it was all sort of like they were very much alike. So that was hard. And then, she's just a beautiful person, to be honest. She's got more character than me. At 13, she even tells me that a fair bit, that I need to get a personality, she reckons. But I don't have enough, but she's definitely got all of that. She's just a really good kid, to be honest. And as she gets older, it's, I guess, easier for us to connect. Yeah. She's starting to, I mean, she's only 13, but it's like she's 15 or 16. And either clothing and stuff like that she's starting to get into. So, it's easier to connect with her and have a laugh. And but yeah, she has got a lot of personality for a 13-year-old.
How old were you when your brother passed away?
I was 7, about 7. So I kind of knew what was going on. Obviously, I knew what was going on, but I didn't know, I guess, the effect or how deep it affected my mum and dad, and what they had to go through, and what they had been through for so long. And I mean, I was 7, I knew what was happening, but I just probably didn't understand it fully. It was, like I said, it was obviously such a sad thing that happened, and obviously we wish he was back, but it's the reason why this family's so close. Yeah.
Do you think that makes you then this, like, you're a unit, like you make decisions together, or you always thinking of each other?
Yeah, we do, to be honest. And have it up until this point, I guess, my career, or my footy career, like I said, we've moved around a lot for it. That will change. Obviously, I'm here for the next 3-4 years. I guess after that contract, then I'll go on my own. But it has been a lot to do with the family and what's best for the family. What's best for my sister and whatnot. And I think this decision to come to Newcastle and be with the Knights is, I think it's been one of the best. Yeah. So for that time, like I can't even imagine the level of that grief and that loss when you have a baby who dies. But when you look back on it now, can you see how much even who you were at, say, 7 changed in that? A lot of,
or do you even remember what life was like before it?
Not really. I think a lot of people do say I'm pretty mature, but also I'm not at the same time. Yeah. I think it's probably just a little bit of my personality, but did I have to grow up quick? I think going back to New Zealand and being around family, my cousins, just being overwhelmed with that love and support. Probably didn't just allowed me to be a kid and not just continue that life. And I was like my dad's one of 11, so I've got a lot of cousins over there. And that's just how I guess what we use as a tool to grieve and to not get over it, but to get through it. I'm lucky that's the way I was brought up. Just surrounded by a lot of love and family and stuff like that.
So do you think then, that the idea of you guys going home essentially to New Zealand in the face of that grief and, like you're saying, being around cousins and family, am I right in thinking that that's just a part of culture, right? Like that's something that...
I think so, yeah. We're part of our family. It is a part of, I think, the Maori culture or New Zealand culture as well. Big families over there.
Yeah.
And if you're not someone's cousin, you are someone's cousin somehow. So definitely now, I mean, being, I guess, who I am, I've got cousins everywhere that have come out of the woodwork. So I think that there's a part of that. But yeah, like we were lucky, or we are lucky that we had so much family, and they definitely helped us through those times.
Being Aboriginal with us in culture, like the idea that your aunties are also like your mum, or your uncles are like your dad, your cousins are your brothers and sisters. How do you see your culture now? Like obviously you were just living in it and being affected by it as a kid, but when you look at that, what are some of the strengths in being Maori?
I think it's obviously my dad's a big driver of. He's got time for everyone. He's got time for anyone. But obviously his family and his friends, he'll do anything for. And I think that's obviously the Maori culture, but that's a big value of my dad's. And being like that towards people, you get that sort of love back. But it is like, it doesn't matter what you have, it's more who you have. And in New Zealand, a lot of my family and a lot of people don't have a lot, but they do, in the sense of a lot of people or a lot of love. Didn't grow up like in the nicest houses or whatever, but if there was a space on the floor, you'd put someone there, you'd put a cousin there or an uncle or whatnot. And that's just how we grew up. Like it was all about who was around you. And that is the culture, and that's why we moved back home. And I guess I didn't really understand that. I didn't know that at the time. Obviously, I was only young, but looking back, it definitely helped. Yeah.
And do you think you take those values with yourself now as an adult away from some of that family? Is that stuff that you'd like, one day if you have kids of your own to have?
Definitely. Obviously my family's been everything to me and is everything to me along this journey that I'm on. And like my closest friends and my dearest friends, like I do try and keep a small circle. I know it's kind of different when you're in this position. I like to have a small circle, the ones that I can truly trust. But in saying that, like my dad's values and Maori culture is being open to everyone and sort of just giving that love to everyone. It's different in this position. I guess you got to kind of you just got to be not selective, but I like to sort of have a smaller circle. But to my very small circle, like I am very loyal. I just appreciate those few that are in there.
Yeah. Have you ever, being a Maori man that lives in Australia, away from that, have you ever had questions of, am I Maori enough? Or you've also been part of the Maori All-Stars sides and stuff like that. Is there ever any times where you question that connection to culture?
Definitely, 100%, yeah. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I think I have grown up in Australia for a large portion of my life, and probably haven't connected with my culture all that much, to be honest. It wasn't. I didn't do Māori over there or anything like that. And then being involved in the Māori camps and being back in back in that culture, those surroundings, it is refreshing for me, but also just makes me feel like I'm back home, back around my cousins, and I do enjoy being in that camp, like the whole experience, but from both sides, the Indigenous side and the Māori culture. It's just such a big an important week. It's not just the game. Like obviously the game's the icing on top, but to be in that camp and to go back and do that, and I do enjoy that. But for sure, I think I've been over here for so long, and like just like little things, like I'm like a white, sort of like a pretty white person with orange hair, and all my cousins are browner skin. So little things like that, definitely. But I do know, like I do appreciate going back and playing for the Māori All-Stars and stuff like that.
But being able to reflect on how those values and those experiences of like what your dad's imparted on you, but also what you guys have done as a family. I mean, surely that makes you go, well, we live that culture of generosity and family and community. Like I am connected.
Yeah, definitely. Like my dad, and my mum. I shouldn't take away from my mum, but my parents, like the values and everything that I have is due to them, and it's because of their culture and my uncles and my aunties, and I am a product of my culture and my surroundings, and going back to New Zealand was the best thing for us, and then to come over here and chase opportunities has been the best thing for us as well.
What do you think are some of the other best values that your parents have passed on to you?
Humility was the biggest one growing up. That was humility, respect. I think passion is another one. My old man always said, like, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care what I do as long as I do it with 110% and I love what I do. So I think that made me quite passionate about whatever challenge or opportunities in front of me. But I think just those things, just humility. If I wasn't humble growing up, like, I would know about it.
Yeah.
I would know about it. And then just being respectful and passionate. Obviously my family is a big part of who I am. And big part of the Ponga family. But I think those things,
they're pretty important values. You know.
Respect's obviously, you have to be respectful. Everyone has to be respectful.
But I think that humility piece is particularly knowing like where you're at now. Like it would be so easy for that. Like especially you found success at such a young age. Really, you're still a kid, and there was a lot of talking about Kalyn Ponga as a teenager.
Yeah.
You could have easily burnt out if you didn't have that grounding, right?
I definitely think so. I was exposed at a young age, and that I'll kind of look at it. It's kind of helped me. Like I learned lessons early, and but it's just back to my old man. And any time that he thought I was getting ahead of where I was, or a big head, or anything like that, he would just make sure I wasn't. So I don't really know any different. And people sort of say to me now, like if I'm signing something, and I've actually had it a lot lately, like, do you ever get sick of this? And it's not really. Like, I still appreciate, I guess, that the happiness and the love and support and whatnot from everyone. I don't really get sick of seeing like how appreciative they are of those sort of things. And I guess that is humility. Like that's being humble, and it is a big drive. It was from my dad. Like he was a big driver of that.
Well, obviously your parents and your sister are probably the people who know you the best in the world and everything you've been through together. How do you think they would describe you, or what do you think that they would use to tell who the real Kalyn is?
Oh, Mum would shake her head, I reckon. I think I'm definitely like my dad, my mum would say, in some good ways and some bad ways. I'm very laxy-daisy, very...
Yeah, you're just a chiller.
Chiller. I think in that sort of easygoing, carefree, although I do care about things, I think that sort of personality can get me in trouble, or it can be perceived like I don't care, but I do obviously care. Just a very easygoing, go with the flow. Like I'm not very opinionated on things. I'm not a people pleaser, but it's just not in my personality to sort of overly give my opinion on things. And I do love my family. I love obviously the two girls, mum and Kaylee. But yeah, just a little bit like my dad in some senses. And
we know that, like you said, Kaylee thinks you need more of a personality.
Yeah, it's just because she's funny. She thinks she's funny than me. She watched my I did a an ad for that app, and she just messaged me and said, "Can you get a personality, please?"
I love the sass.
Yeah. She is sassy. She's some of her text messages, they're pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no. So I texted her back and said, "I do have one. Thank you." But yeah, no. I think that just both sound pretty cruisy, pretty easygoing.
I actually spoke to your dad on the phone last week when we were organising this, and it's funny because he kind of said the same thing, that you're a bit relaxed with your schedule and that sort of stuff.
Very. I live day to day.
Yeah.
I'm very, very simple, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to take a leaf out of your book. I don't know how to simplify things.
I don't think you would. You look like an organised. I need to be a lot more organised with things.
Yeah.
Very last minute. Like I would have messaged you at 1:20 giving you my address if you didn't ask for my address. You know what I mean? Like I'm just very easygoing. Yeah. I'm learning. I'm getting there.
Well, that's all right. Like, you're self-aware. That's helpful.
I'm very self-aware. I know what type of person I am, and I can't use that as an excuse. But I don't mind it. It's fun.
I mean, it would be naive of me not to recognise that a part of your perception in the public comes from my world and from media and how things are sort of reported and whatever. I mean,
can you do a better?
I seriously,
can you help me out a little bit?
Yeah. But like, I mean, most of us who aren't in the position that you are get to have shitty days, get to make mistakes, get to have our worst moments be private. And you don't have that luxury. What has that experience been like for you through your journey so far?
Up and down.
Yeah.
My first exposure was when I was like 16 and that highlight reel came out, the rugby union one. And that was, I guess, my first time having that sort of attention and media focus. I guess from that exposure, I didn't get used to it, but I knew what to expect. It's been different throughout the years. Obviously, when you're not playing well, you know what media's like when you're not playing well. I think it hurt. There's only times when it hurt was when they sort of question my character as a person. Like, I can understand when they're commenting on my performances and whatnot on the weekend, but I think when they question your character as a person, that it affects more than just you, because it's like I said, I'm a product of my surroundings and the people that are around me, and it's questioning them as well. Only a couple of times that's happened, and then I guess over these last couple of years, I've just gotten used to, I guess, anything that I do, it's going to be out there, and they can make a bigger story of it than what it is. So just being mindful of that. Like when you're young and naive to things, I guess you're probably not as aware of all that sort of stuff. But now I am. I'm older now. I know what to expect. I know what's going to rub people the wrong way or not. When you're winning footy, it definitely helps. It definitely helps. But again, you just understanding that it's part of the job that we have, and media are just doing their job. It's probably taken my mum and my family a bit of they've learnt along the way as well. Obviously reading comments and stuff as a mother isn't a good thing to do, and my mum's definitely learnt that. My little sister, she's never really said anything, to be honest, but hopefully I think she knows. But again, it's just going back to the people that truly know me, know what I'm like, and you've just got to be strong with that. Like, other people's opinions don't matter, and just be strong with who you are and what your values are. There's been obviously a couple of things in the past that I can't escape it, and I guess I didn't go into the comment section seeking gratification or anything like that, but I definitely needed it from family and my friends and stuff. So I guess that's probably my way of getting through those sort of times, or that sort of like media pressure or whatever you want to call it. It's just making sure the people around me are happy with me. But
right. So positioning those people as the ones whose opinions matter.
Exactly. That's why I said I like to keep my circle pretty small, because like it is only their opinions really that matter. You can go in, like I guess everyone to an extent does do it. Go into comments and whatnot. But to be honest, I have been pretty good. Like, I don't really do it.
Wow. That's impressive. Like, I think it's hard to not, like, You know, like to not just have a little bit of a look, because I mean, there's definitely times where I've seen comments about people I care about and I would like to go to war a bit. So, but I understand that you have like such a great support network. So that's really, honestly, that's a really good skill to have.
I think because I was exposed to it so early.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it is what it is now. It's just the way it is. And I just understand that you can't please everyone.
You've spoken about your small circle quite a bit, and before we started recording, we met someone who's in your small circle, your roommate.
Me best mate.
Roommate, yeah. So
BJ.
He's known you for a long time. You said 16?
Since we were 16, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you reckon BJ describes
me?
KP?
Oh, sorry. Depends what we're talking. I think, much like my mum and dad, I'm lazy around the house. If we're talking about those sort of things, he'd if you give him the license to roast me on a few things, he'd take it. But to be honest, like me and him are really close. I tell him everything. I've bounced a lot of things off of him, and like we've spoken and had deep conversations about a lot of things. I don't know how he's actually a very genuine and nice person. So if you gave him a mic, he'd actually be pretty nice. But yeah, I'd say loyal to him. I guess I'd hope he'd say those values that I said before.
That's nice. Like I always love thinking about someone's like closest person. Also, Sage is now cuddling up to me, which is the best thing that's ever happened.
Sage.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sage. It's okay.
Sorry,
beautiful girl.
Digging into that tennis ball. Sorry.
That's all right.
Like BJ's, my dad talks to him about different things as well. Like,
oh, nice.
He's almost like I think my mum and dad like him more than me in some ways. But yeah, he's like a brother to me. He's given me a lot of advice about different things. He's quite a smart person. And he's just a voice outside of the footy circle. It's a circle, it's a bubble, it's a whole different world. So to have someone's opinion and perspective from outside of that, I think it's good for me, works for me.
I feel like your relaxed persona, like as you've described, in the way that you handle those closest relationships, you're obviously someone who's like not afraid to be open and probably emotional or...
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's definitely... I never have. I'm not afraid to be sort of emotional. Yeah. Even when we started talking, I was like, I don't know why, but I started to get like a little bit emotional. Yeah. I'm settled in now, but no, I don't know why. I've never really been sort of the tough exterior sort of guy. No, I don't know why.
Yeah, no. Well, I think that it's probably not what people expect when you think about a rugby league player either. They might expect a sort of ultra masculine, but I feel like
it's changing. Well, I think sport, the mental side of sport, it's probably always been like this, but I just feel like it's definitely evolving. There's so much in that space, not only mental performance, mental well-being and everything. It's definitely opening up, I think. Yeah. There's a lot more platforms to speak on. Not even platforms, but there's just a lot more people open to it. That's not something I'm afraid of, I guess.
I think when, again, I think about you and sort of almost the brand of Kalyn Ponga, right? You really express yourself on your social media. I'm even looking at your tattoos and it's quite like
a bit bad,
arty and different, and again, just not what you expect from, particularly a game like rugby league. Like, how do you like to express yourself?
I've sort of always had that sort of creative, open-minded, I guess, energy about me, I guess. I don't know where it comes from, I guess. Just being really comfortable with who I am, knowing who I am, and then being comfortable with expressing myself is like, and I still get caught in it now, like caring about what other people think to an extent. Like, I want to wear something that's a little bit out there. No, I'm not going to wear it because, like, and I think that's just human nature as well. Yeah. But I think when I moved to Newcastle, I remember just sort of this, while I was 19, I don't know if it was the players that were around me, but they really allowed me to express myself. And then that went onto the footy field. I don't know if it was the coaching or the players that were around me, but if I did it off the field, I felt comfortable doing it on the field. Definitely did that that first year that I was here. And then I guess that kind of just has always stuck, and I've always had a creative outlet that's given me that ability to show it. Like photography was a big thing when I first started. But then I went into podcasting, slowed down a little bit on all of that. But I don't know, it's just I guess who I am, and I'm not afraid to show it. My Instagram I enjoy. Like it's something that it's probably the only thing that I really have control of in terms of showing people who I am. Obviously media, they can write whatever they want, but my Instagram's mine. It's I can control what's on that. So I do hold that quite close. I don't have Twitter or Facebook or anything. So yeah, I think, and it's just, but there's a lot of athletes now. I mean, obviously over in America and stuff, it's a lot more, they can do whatever they want. Well, not whatever they want, but Australia's a little bit different. We get criticised for a lot of things, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just always been who I am.
Growing up, we all have, you know, different people or brands or movies or kind of pop culture moments that influence us. Sage is climbing over now. As a kid, did you, or a teenager, was there someone or something that you really looked up to that's helped like shape your style as well?
Early on, like the photography thing, I don't know where that came from, to be honest. I think it was just growing up in that era or like this generation where like Instagram's cool, videography's cool, photos are cool, and I kind of just fell into that, but really enjoyed it. I get inspiration of other athletes overseas. I don't know, I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of things, and I think I'm just curious, and I like doing things as well. Like I might not be good at it, but I like doing it if it's like in that sort of creative space.
What's your latest obsession?
I'm actually about to renovate my house.
Yeah.
So I do think about that a fair bit, and that's probably it. I think off the field as well. Obviously, Sage, my puppy. She's my little girl. I was obsessed with golf for a bit there too. So it's just, it really depends. But I think right now it's just all that sort of home interior sort of stuff.
Are you, like, you're not someone who can just sort of lightly dip your toe in? You're like an all in or nothing kind of
Pretty
person?
much, yeah. So we're about to renovate this house, and I downloaded this app, and I manually put in all the walls of the house, all the furniture. I had to do it myself, manually do it all. It took me about 4 or 5 hours. But I just sat there, and because I get obsessed with it, and I enjoy the process. Like I said, it's a creative sort of thing you can do. It was quite fun.
I feel like that's such a common trait in like high performing athletes to be like that, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like Bradman, one of our Bradman at best, he said to me just in conversation, he was like, "What are you obsessed with at the moment?" Like that was a question that he asked me. So it's definitely, I think it is definitely a trait, and he's the same. He gets obsessed with things. I agree with you on that.
I mentioned your tattoos before. Can you let us in on some of the inspiration on some of them?
Some of them are I've just woken up and I want a new tattoo.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's okay. That's fine. Some of them are related to family, different moments in time, different things that have been going on. This one's for my cousin. It's she passed away, and she loved like Disney and like Disney music and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I got that tattoo for her. It is really just moments in time. Like in my mind, I know what each one means. Yeah. Some of them I don't really want to share.
Yeah. That's all right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just grown over time. It's probably a little bit full now, and I want to get some on my back. But again, it'll be moments, just different things.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at them, and
some of them are terrible, to be honest.
Let's keep it cool. A Nike tattoo.
It was a bit bold, that one.
Is that to make sure that you have a Nike sponsorship for your whole career?
Well, I am sponsored by Nike, but it was a big call to go and
Yeah.
get it tattooed on you so you can sort of brand yourself.
Yeah. My dad was a Nike athlete and he just had the tick earring. So you went really hard.
I went hard there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just different moments, some of them are home jobs. Like, yeah. I don't know if I can say that. Some of them don't mean anything.
Yeah. If you're winning the premiership with the Knights.
I've got a spot for it.
Yeah, you're ready.
I want it to go in there. I'll probably get a bit carried away and probably get it somewhere else. But yeah, I've already thought about that.
Yeah.
That's probably the one I have planned ahead.
You know. Kalyn, I feel like you've shared so much with me in this chat, and I really appreciate you being so open. And I think that that's a big part of the reason people always want to know more about you, because you give so much. I think the final thing I wanted to ask you about is, we've talked about who you are, what shaped you, some of your experiences growing up, and, particularly about your family's influence. And I don't know if this is something you've thought about, what do you hope is the legacy of Kalyn Ponga? Like in the future, when footy's over, when, maybe people haven't thought of you in a while and someone goes, remember Kalyn Ponga? What do you want your legacy to be?
It's pretty big. Pretty big question. I think whilst I'm an athlete and I'm in it now and I'm playing, you want to be known as a winner, I think like in this sport, in this profession, when I go on and retire and I'm doing something different and I don't know what I'll be doing at the end of my career, but I think whilst I'm here or when I would leave, I want to be known as a winner. And probably the first half of my career, we haven't really done much of that at the Knights. It's definitely, I hope it's changing, and I think it is changing, but I want to be known as someone that won. And I'd love to do it in these colours. Yeah, I guess, if you walk away from the game and that's what you're remembered for, I think, I already know, I hope that in terms of off the field and who I am as a person, I think people will know that. But when they say Kalyn, the rugby league player, he was a winner, he won. And yeah, I've got hopefully a good 6 years or 7 years left in the game, and I want that to sort of be the back end of my career as I won a lot more games. And
yeah, well, how do you want people to feel like they've met you or you've impacted them in some way? How do you want to make people feel?
That's a good question. When you sort of meet someone and then you walk away and they give you energy and you're like, I really enjoyed that. I hope that's what I do. Obviously those traits and those values that my parents and my family have instilled in me, I'd like to think that people think of me in that way. Yeah. So obviously like that humble, respectful, open, sort of colourful sort of person, I think would be a nice way to be remembered.
I like the way that you've used colourful as an adjective.
I've used it now, but it's a good way to... Does it make sense?
Yeah, 100% it does. And you said that you would like to be someone who gives people energy when you leave the space. Have you experienced that before? Like, what does that feel like?
You know when you have a conversation with someone? Yeah, definitely. Someone that pops into mind is Danny Badiris. He's someone that when I have a conversation with, you walk away from him and you probably want to go back and have another conversation with him. So obviously that as a person, you want to leave those impressions on people.
Are you saying that it's like a conversation that inspires people or motivate? Like, what is it that in that conversation that gives people energy?
Probably just makes them feel good about themselves, or I guess inspiring is probably more through, you can do that in different ways in this job, and we're lucky enough to have that. But when I finish, like those traits, like I spoke about before, I think they're important.
Yeah,
I think they will. Like I'm not trying to. I think the way I sort of hold myself, I hope that people do say that about me. Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure, I guess, with athletes to be role models for the next generation. But do you take that that pressure and think about your family values you've been given and stuff, and sort of like you feel good about being able to be positioned as a role model?
I'm just living, I guess, my life by those traits, by those values. I think probably giving back is probably something I could do a little bit more and be better at. I know myself, I've felt personally like I haven't really, I guess, performed the way I've wanted to over the last 2 or 3 years, that I haven't been that comfortable with myself to give back, if you know what I mean. So I guess last year was probably the first year I was quite happy with how I performed on the field, and I was proud of myself. And when you feel proud of yourself, you know, you feel like you can inspire people, and it's probably a bit of a humble thing that I need to, in a bad way though. Because whether I'm playing good footy or not, I have got the opportunity to inspire a lot of young athletes or non-athletes or young kids growing up or whatever. That's probably a mindset that I need to sort of get out of.
So you felt like you hadn't done enough to be able to...
A little bit, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Well, I haven't... You're not comfortable with... I haven't been comfortable with how I played, I guess, over the last couple of years. Injuries. That was nice. That was nice. But the years before that, I've had a fair few injuries and whatnot. And, just realising where I am in the game now, the position that I'm in, I've got a good opportunity to do that, to give back.
At the beginning of last year, obviously the time when there was a lot of fear around your concussions, like that is, I think, terrifying for your head, right? Like your brain, really important to be looked after and whatever. What did that moment do for, I guess, your perspective?
When I'm in an RN with I could play again, that one. I guess, again, having that support around me was important, because there was a lot of noise from everyone. People that don't know me, do know me, know concussions, don't know concussions. There was a lot of noise. So just, again, having that support around me was important. And it was pretty confronting. It was pretty scary. But at the same time, I guess me being me, like if it was what it was, I couldn't play, then it is what it is. Like, there's no point. I think I would go then. It would probably take me a little bit to get over, but then I would have to just go and find another passion and just try and do that as hard as I can. I'm glad that it obviously come out this way and that I can continue to play. To even think that was even a possibility is pretty crazy, that I wasn't going to be able to, but obviously happy with the result. Maybe that obsessive personality in me was speaking a little bit and saying, like, if you can't play, then, you know, I feel confident I'd find something. It would be hard to sort of fulfill or not to fill that void, because I mean, footy does give you so much. But I think I would have been all right.
I think it's also one of those things where it's like, that didn't happen, thank God.
Yeah.
So you don't have to know the answer.
Well, yeah. It was a reality at one point.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, before going to Canada, the point of the trip was either yes or no. And I remember being, like, just being with mum and dad before we left and sort of saying, like, these are the two options. So I did have to think about it, but thankfully I got the green light. So, and then once I got the green light, I was just, I wanted to make sure I'd did everything I could to perform for my teammates and the club, and just focused on that for the rest of the year. I think I did that.
And do you think that it also just made you, I don't know, sort of appreciate almost that second chance you were getting?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've always been pretty. I do understand the position we're in and how grateful we are. It did put it into perspective once it sort of can be taken away from you. But I think I've always sort of been pretty grateful of where I am and what I'm doing, and I just felt like I'd let a lot of people down though during that period. I don't know if it was just because of the amount of noise going on or the concussions or whatnot, but I just felt like yeah, that was a tough period. Just felt like I let a lot of people down.
And do you think you were maybe being a bit hard on yourself looking back at it now, or are you kind of happy that's how you felt because it made you
I
perform?
think I'm happy that that's how I felt, because I think it drove me to have the year that I had in the back end. Yeah.
Does that ever, I mean, the concept of it being pulled away, are you ever still scared about that being a possibility?
Not really. I don't know if I said something. You know, when you're sort of growing up and they're like, "Oh, what would you do if you didn't play footy?" Like, and I used to get a little bit embarrassed, I guess, if I said I don't really know, I'm not sure. I guess like I'm so heavily passionate about, I guess, winning and performing as best as I can, and that's what nearly every day is about. If that was taken away from me, I would just go on to something different and continue to be passionate about whatever's next. So like, whilst I'm in footy, it is what I want to do. It's everything. I want to put all my eggs, and not all my eggs, but all my energy into this while it's there, because say I've got the best part of 7 years. After that, then I've got a whole nother life to live, I guess. But I'm not really embarrassed to say like I'm just going to give footy my all.
Yeah,
it's all I really want to do. But I'm not scared that if it could get taken away. I think if I get concussed, I think I'll be okay. I think I'm okay now.
Yeah, good.
I think I'm okay. But no, I'm not really scared by that.
There's something in that needs to be researched about you, in your ability to just be like, don't fear the unknown, because as someone who fears things they don't know, like, that is really valuable.
A bad trait.
No, it's not. It's not, because like you said, I think that there will be, particularly Knights fans, will be very happy with what you just said, right? In terms of that's what we expect from a lot of athletes, but it's hard to be like, that this is it, and I'm okay with whatever happens next, but for now, this is it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my mindset.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. I guess if I hope not, touch wood.
Yeah.
And I had to stop playing tomorrow, then I would just go and I would be passionate about something else and give that my all and dive into that. I don't think that's a bad trait.
No, not at all. Well, Kalyn, I've really enjoyed having this conversation, and I'm particularly, I don't know, it makes my heart really warm, your family's impact and your love for them. Like, I think that's so special, and I thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you. You brought that out in me, I think.
Cool.
Made me feel comfortable and safe, so thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Marlee and Me. And a huge thank you to Kalyn for letting me come into his home and having such an open, candid and honest conversation with me. On my drive home from Newcastle after our conversation, I remember thinking there were lots of things that pleasantly surprised me about that chat. And Kalyn said to me after we'd turned the recording devices off that he felt really good about the conversation too. This is what I want to do with this podcast: create connections and reveal surprising things. I think the most special part of his story is how much he takes the role as big brother so seriously and with such pride, and the love he shows for his younger sister is something that really warmed my heart. Hopefully that's what you think of the next time you see him run out in that Knights jersey. In the next episode, I head up to Brisbane and sit down with Jordan Ricky from the Brisbane Broncos. And his koto, or grandfather, stops in for a little chat as well. Jordy, listening to your koto talk about this and what it means, like, how much does that mean to you?
Yeah, I'm just really proud. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, I think I worked really hard. It's really nice to hear that they're really proud of me. I know they always are and stuff like that, but it's really nice to hear, and that's probably the main reason why I play. Is my whole family. I run out there and, I wear my family on my sleeve.
If you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit follow and you'll never miss an episode.
This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights, action, 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour, grab a seat on the couch for that. And of course, my favourite, Freddie in the Own.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm, subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.